the reports or the things I've been watching from all the analysts and everything else is that they played a near perfect match in their win over Paraguay on Friday. Just your thoughts on what they were able to achieve and how they looked in your mind.
Yeah, I would agree that I think like from the coaching perspective, the first half was excellent. I was actually thinking, when you watch the games, like you always have those thoughts, like, can we do something different? Can we do something better? But I actually think we played the perfect first half. And obviously, when you go to the halftime with 3-0 result, and then Pulisic got subbed, whatever is like a small injury, or I read some reports or prevention, but it's kind of like, I understand maybe dropping the gear down in the second half, but overall I was impressed with the performance, and probably the highest performance from any team so far in the World Cup was USA performance in that game.
And I think to watch Balogun do what he did, with the left kick and every left foot kick, everything else for the goal and what have you, he was impressive. And man,
Yes.
he's very athletic, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I mean, I was lucky to work with Flo, and I'm very happy for him, very happy for all other guys. I think that he was very clinical. He used his opportunities, and listen, in a World Cup, I believe you have to behave that way. You get a little bit, and then you have to execute. And he was very sharp, very focused, and scored those 2 goals. Yeah, overall, I think he had a great performance as well.
As a head coach, how difficult is the decision to, we saw Matt Freese play in net in the first match and over Matt Turner, who you have with the Revolution. How difficult is that as a head coach making that decision?
I think that every head coach has their own process when we make our decisions, and I think from outside, sometimes we can be biased. Sometimes we don't know the full context behind certain decision, but as long as people that are head coaches that have the process, and obviously they are the only one that know the context 100%, I strongly support, because I think they do what they think in that moment is the best for the team and for them. In this case, obviously, we would all love to see Matt Turner playing, and we are supporting USA, but we are supporting Matt as well. However, it's a long tournament, and you never know in what direction everything's going to go in the coming games.
From your perspective, what did you know about Matt before you got him, and now that you've had him and Matt Turner with the Revs, what do you know about him now that maybe didn't surprise you, but just kind of what do you like about him as a netminder?
Yeah, it's the first time when I work with Matt with the national team. We play we play Nations League and the Gold Cup. We had a quite successful summer. And Matt in that moment was in Arsenal. He was probably on peak of his career, and maybe in that moment he wasn't started for Arsenal, but however, things were going well for him, and I think that when he came back to New England was kind of like after a couple of clubs where he didn't have that success, and then he was trying to find ground for himself again. Something that I really appreciate is learning about Matt, how strong mindset he has, and willingness to keep working, willingness to give his best day by day, and being very focused on present. I know that he had a strong desire to get to the World Cup, and if you remember game in March where USA lost and Matt was on the goal and conceded 5 goals, when he came back, even though that I think he had a quite decent performance, if you can say, for the goalkeeper when the team conceded 5 goals, but I saw like clear determination. Okay, that's behind me, what I can do in the future. And basically 2 days after that, he had amazing performance with us. So that's something that I like your question. It's something new that I learned, or actually kind of circumstances put us in situation when Matt was challenged different way, and then seeing how he crossed that obstacle was very positive from my side.
All right, put your head coach cap on. You coached the U20s, the US U20s in the under-20 World Cup play last year. You're approaching group play. I heard this morning the United States hasn't won their first 2 matches in a World Cup since 1930. So what is your approach this week as you get ready for Friday in Australia? Do you go hard on them? Do you kind of go soft? And how quickly do you erase the 3-1? What do you take from that? What do you show them? And how do you approach coming up on match number 2 Friday?
Yeah, I think everybody has their own perspective, and this is what I'm going to say. It's probably very subjective. Number one, all those stats that are around, I don't pay attention too much on that. So if there was no win game with some certain score, whatever stats are around that, it's like, but we have to be very focused on what is coming. And what I know that USA has to win at least one more point to be sure that they qualified for the next round. However, I would have just approach day by day. I wouldn't even think about that. Like what we can do today, we have next game, we have to maximize that game. And maybe if in one moment you have clear outcome from your group, maybe after 2 games you learn like, okay, now we are first in the group and we know no matter what, that third game doesn't mean much. Then you can have a different approach. But until you are sure that outcome of any game doesn't guarantee you nothing, like you have to go full for those games. So like I wouldn't have those like soft or hard approach. You just go full in game after game. And listen, to calculate in the World Cup tournaments, it's a short tournaments that once you put a gear down, it's difficult to go gear up. And I believe teams have to go like literally to maximize everything in that several weeks that they are together.